my name's Eliana. Today we're going to be talking about how to learn a language. Communication is so important in today's world, but language is a huge barrier to communication. There's lots of different ways to overcome the language barrier, but the best way to talk to somebody who knows a different language is to speak their language. But learning a new language can be really hard. So today we're going to talk about some tips and advice. I've tried to learn a few different languages, some more successfully than others. So I want to share with you what has worked, what hasn't, and what some experts have to say, some expert advice. The first experience of learning a language I want to share with you was taking a Spanish class in high school. I needed an English credit, so I decided to take Spanish. The class didn't really help me to learn the language though, and I think it's because of how it was set up. It was a lot of memorization. The first week we got a list of vegetables and we had to memorize it, and that's what we were quizzed on at the end of the week, and it didn't end up being very helpful. The class also moved by so quickly. After the first week there was multiple lists of words we had to memorize and multiple pages of a textbook about grammar that we had to learn. It was just too fast for the language to really sink in. And finally, I didn't get a lot of practice. I think throughout the whole class I got to actually speak Spanish maybe once or twice, so I didn't really learn the language. But Nepali and Chuukese, my experience with learning those languages was a lot better. I think first of all, it's because learning to read the language first, learning how words are pronounced before you get conversational is very beneficial, because once you do start talking to people, you already know how the words are pronounced, the way to say it, so that's a good first step. After that, being around people whose native language it was, that was really helpful, because you get to hear the words that they use and you can learn the real vocabulary instead of just the dictionary words. Going to restaurants, making friends, or talking to people online, those are all good ways to try to talk to natives. The last thing that really helped me was having a good motivation. If you know why you're learning the language, it can help you to keep going. Motivation is the best accelerant. Lastly, I want to share with you guys some advice from North Carolina University, and from Aaron, who's a translator and writer for Education First. The first thing they said is that errors are so important, because when you make mistakes, you're able to learn from them. So the more mistakes, the better. It's good to get yourself an environment where mistakes are accepted and then easily corrected. After that, it's important not to associate words from the language you're trying to learn with words from the language that you already know, because there's oftentimes a similarity between the denotation, but the connotation will be different. So instead of doing that, try to learn a word from your new language and then associate it with the meaning and the language you already know. That'll be helpful. It's also important to focus your learning. You're not going to be able to learn every word or every aspect of grammar. So if you remember your goal and why you're learning, that'll help you filter out the information that's really going to be important to you. Finally, what I kept seeing in all the research was to have fun. Don't just memorize or learn from a textbook, but look for ways to make it more interesting and help it sink in to your brain. So in conclusion, when learning a language, be around people whose native language it is. Try to learn their vocabulary, make lots of mistakes, keep practicing, most importantly, have fun with it. So learning a new language is a very valuable tool. I hope this speech will help you acquire that skill.